Hello everyone and welcome to another chess video. This is Seikster. Today's game, I chose a game between Boris Spassky, playing as white, and Viktor Korchnoi, playing as black. Now, I've been looking at a lot of Botvinnik games recently, and I've got to say, it was hard for me not to choose a Botvinnik game for today. I just find his games very instructive, and he plays very logically, and his wins just are very instructive most of the time. But anyway, the reason I chose a masterpiece by Viktor Korchnoi, playing as black, is because he was a strong advocate of the French defense, and maybe even the best expert of all time on the French defense. It was his most played opening by far, and well, he really shows you how to play the French defense. And, hopefully soon I'll move on to other openings, but right now I'm trying to really nail down the French defense. And especially the winner variation, which, once again, we'll look at today. Now, just to give you a little bit of introduction to Viktor Korchnoi, although he was never world champion, Wikipedia says this about him. In all, Korchnoi was a candidate for the World Championship on 10 occasions, and it gives a bunch of dates. Korchnoi was also a 4-time USSR chess champion, a 5-time member of Soviet teams that won the European Championship, and a 6-time member of Soviet teams that won the Chess Olympiad. In September 2006, he won the World Senior Chess Championship. So, it just shows that even though he was never world champion, he still did a lot of other great things and played amongst the top players. Of course, Spassky, who was world champion at one point. Karpov, Kasparov, he's played with the top dogs, so to speak. And so we'll start the game. And hopefully this looks familiar. It's mainline. Winnower. And we go into the most aggressive tactical line, which is another reason I chose this video. You always get some fun games out of this variation. And Korchnoi actually played the line that I like to use myself. Another choice could be Queen A5. A second. Queen A5 could be another choice, followed by something like this. These are the book moves, with a fairly equal game. Possibilities for both sides. But anyway, Viktor played this variation. And the queen retreats. And so, at this point, if we analyze the position, we'll see that black completely let his king side get destroyed. However, he has lots of piece activity on the king side. Mainly this rook is blasting down the g-file, and white's development is hindered. This knight is unnaturally placed on e2. This bishop isn't going to get far, especially because it's stuck tying down the it's tied down to the g-pawn. And so, of course, even though black has a tough game, he has compensation, because white's king, for most of the game, if not all the game, will stay stuck in the middle forever. And actually, I'm taking a quote from the book The French Defense, A Complete Black Repertoire by Nikita Vitugov, who's 2700. I'm taking this quote about this exact variation of the French winner. He writes, "White's king, however, may remain endangered to the end of the game, because even if black's first attacking wave fails, there may follow another one." And so white is going to be on the defensive for lots of the game. good push and a potential pawn sacrifice. Now, Spassky moved back. However, if he takes with the knight, I'll go over both the knight and bishop taking. We have trade and moving this knight up. And of course, Spassky probably considered this and rejected the idea. This pawn is a nuisance on the queen's side, and there's pressure building up on this pawn. He might be forced to play something like g3 later, or in fact that very move, and so maybe it seemed a little uncomfortable for him. Now if he takes with the bishop, we also have, well, we have knight takes d4, and instead of knight up here we have castle and queenside, because this pawn is only attacked once. And so this also doesn't look very comfortable, especially because this rook is on the same file as the queen. So it makes for a potential discovered attacks or pins. So anyway, he played bishop f2. And continuing through the game, now he took. So he first waited for black to castle to show what he's going to do with his king before recapturing the pawn. And so this is a pawn sacrifice by Korchnoi. But it's not that bad, because white's king is in the middle, and therefore opening this d-file can be a good thing if played accurately, which of course is expected. Now he plays b6 because to blunt the influence of the queen on this d4a7 diagonal. Discovered attack on the queen, also defending this knight that was attacked by the bishop. And here we have rook d5. Probably getting ready to double up on the d-file. And like I said, that pawn sacrifice was meant to open up, to rip open the d-file. And also it serves another purpose, which we'll see. If instead he played rook takes g2, which at first glance looks, well, pretty attractive. Oh, well, never mind. That actually isn't even possible. Sorry. The queen actually is just protecting that. So never mind. That would be an absolute blunder. My mistake. So yeah, but he's also blocking out cheapos with the queen coming to a8. For example, if, say, well, he can't play. Let's say Korchnoi played like that, trying to double up. We'll have queen a8, and by best play, this will follow. Oh, well, he really just trades down, and he's pawn up, and so Korchnoi really had to stop this long diagonal, the queen getting on it. Sorry about that long detour. Anyway, so Spassky just trades off because, well, he's up in material. And so, will Korchnoi be able to justify his pawn sacrifice in the rest of the game? Attacking this pawn, we have a king move. You can see that Korchnoi is not afraid of losing material. That is because he has dynamic compensation. For example, if rook takes c3 in that position, we have queen h4 check, and the queen would be getting in. So you can see this is a very highly dynamic tactical game, and both sides have to play very precisely. And also, if just playing g3 to stop the rook from attacking g2, best play would follow like this. And of course sacking that pawn, but getting lots of counterplay on the D and C files, and he's probably going to win that pawn back. Position is just about equal. So anyway, Spassky played king f1, protecting that pawn because the rook was getting ready to snap off that pawn. And now we have a lot of pressure piling up. Black's counterplay is finally becoming concrete. And Korchnoi played rook takes f2. And, well, in hindsight, things are always better to say. Things are always easier to say in hindsight. And of course with computer analysis, but Korchnoi could have made an even better move with queen c5 instead. Best play would follow. White's trying to queen his h pawn, which is a pass pawn, and this happens in a lot of French winnower variations. We have a check, and the position is somewhat more desirable for black here, just because of all of his activity, and especially because he has so much control over the important d file in this position. Anyway, he traded off the rooks because he still saw winning chances. Rook on the 7th. A rook on the 7th is always a good idea. Puts a lot of pressure, and now this is a very good move. Bring his queen over to the g file, and he kind of uses this ladder technique to bring his queen up, so that he could slide his rook down. Very good, very good. That was best move, defending so that his king can come back somewhere. And Spassky does a good job of defending, really. With check. And so, with the queen and rook, you can see that the idea is for the rook to blast down the diagonals. Excuse me. For the rook to blast down the files, and for the queen to kind of slip in through these diagonals. You'll see in the next couple moves. See, now this queen is kind of slipping in through b7, and maybe might come up after something like rook d2, getting in on the second rank again. And so, yeah, that's pretty good for black. Getting in on the 7th or the second rank, and getting ready to jump in on this weak long diagonal. Yep, and he does exactly that. And after taking, good move. The king has to move up because Korchnoi is threatening to. Well, actually, his big threat is rook to f3, winning the queen. So he moves out of the way and protects the f4 pawn. Plays this, and that was the winning move. He's threatening mates, and well, overall, either if it's not a mate, to win material. The computer says best play. Spassky actually resigned here, but the computer says best play would continue as this. Check, and then it will if king g3, king h3. We have rook there, winning the queen, and if king h4, we have rook takes h2. So it's pretty hopeless for white, and the queen is going to be lost with decisive attack. So anyway, he resigned in this position. So this video is to show you how a gambit can be very effective, especially when you're looking for the important files. In this case, it was the D file. Korchnoi's ability to sack upon the D file for a quick attack proved to be useful and instructive. So hopefully you got something out of this game. Maybe you'll look into sacrificing pawns yourself for a quick attack or counterplay and whatnot. And so that's really the message I want to get across here. In my next video, I'll try studying more Nimzovician ideas. Maybe bring something out from the book I'm reading right now, which is My System by Aaron Nimzovich. And so, yeah, hopefully you liked this video. If you did, please like it on YouTube and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments if you liked it or if you have any questions. Yep. I'll see you guys next time.